Hi, I'm Thilo, and I would like to constantly improve my English speaking skills, and for that, I just need to speak. That's why I record these podcasts or videocasts, and that's why I always try to find a topic that I can talk about. I'm not a professional in English teaching, and I don't claim to deliver everything in correct grammar, intonation, and spelling. I just want to share my experiences on my way to learn English with you. Today is May 25 in 2022, and we are on episode 2. And I want to talk about what is just my current challenge as a leader in our company. Therefore, you should know that as a leader, I have to do with digitization in a company that has grown in stable processes over many years. Due to the possibilities, but above all, due to the requirements of digitization, things have to be approached completely differently than in the past. And that is a huge cultural challenge in a company that has been rather statically conditioned over the years. The biggest challenge here is that the leaders have always been able to understand new topics in advance, have been able to structure them, and then give employees concrete work instructions. In the age of extreme digital speed, you as an individual manager are no longer in a position to do this, to think through in advance and then prescribe how to approach them. You are no longer able to acquire new knowledge as quickly as you actually need to, and above all, not in the required range. Already now and in the future, employees will know more than you as the boss. They will tell you as the boss how things should be done, and that changes the whole game. The previous understanding of the role of a leader is being completely changed by this. Some people can't deal with it, and even I, who always claims to be very open to new approaches, reach my limits at one point or another. I have to put into question myself, which is sometimes hard. I'm an engineer who likes to understand things in their complexity and derive concrete measures for my organizational unit, which I then put into practice in a structured way. I love to think things through to the end. I'm the type, give me the topic and I will make it. Especially in the area of digitization, our entire company is currently introducing new platforms, new ways of working, and new steering committees. Together with my team, I'm involved in setting up one of the main new platforms on which new solutions are to be developed in a scalable way in the future. Also, I had to acquire a lot of new knowledge. I was able to understand the platform topic, which is new to me, and I was able to derive the necessary steps for our business unit. It makes me proud that I was able to acquire new knowledge on my own and to grasp the complex context. For this analysis, I was able to define the structure and roadmap for working on the subject with the team. But within a few weeks, other platforms and initiatives came into play, which had an influence on the discussed platform. Principles that had already been decided and were being implemented suddenly became redundant or at least questioned. This confused the existing structure a lot. In my way of approaching things, I now try to understand the new influencing platform in order to be able to assess the influences. This platform itself depended on many other factors, and suddenly it became extremely complex. I had to admit to myself that I and probably no one else is capable of fully understanding the complexity of digital platforms in such a large company. But even more, I had to realize that the subtopic I am working on no longer functions in isolation, that external influences can change existing principles at any time, and that the subtopics are also becoming highly specialized. The time when I, as the boss, could think ahead in detail and prescribe work steps is probably finally over. Furthermore, my access to my staff is also limited as they are increasingly organized in overarching projects. All these findings have to be digested first, and in the end, even the previous leadership role has to be called into question. A leadership role that I have defined myself over the years. Questions run through my mind. Do I still want this at all? What will remain for me as leader? Am I even capable of going along with the fast-moving nature of the issues? Shouldn't I show greatness and get out? Do I even want to be a leader anymore? Don't I rather enjoy working on concrete issues at a working level? Or should I finally realize my dream of living and working abroad temporarily? But what will happen to the status and salary level I have achieved so far? I have not yet found a solution for a new leadership role, and I haven't yet answered the question, what do I really want? And I ask myself, are there perhaps more colleagues who are asking themselves these questions? I'm trying to get closer to an answer, and I may have already seen some small success in adjusting my approaches. There's a colleague, let's call him Robert. Robert has a very unconventional way of approaching new topics. He has an overall idea of what he wants to achieve and goes to other colleagues to inspire and motivate them to work together with him on the topic. He motivates them to work together and go on goals and approaches with which the big and whole overarching goal can be achieved without having previously thought through and worked out everything in detail in advance. He motivates with vision and forms a community of the willing people, and he deliberately focuses on the willing and not on the unwilling people. I admit that I was very critical of this in the beginning. I also criticized Robert for, in my eyes, being so unspecific and focusing only on the willing. I also criticized him for not really producing measurable results at the beginning, because my way of approaching things was to define very concretely in advance what should come out to drive this in a focused way to a result. And in addition, I tended to focus on the mostly few but loud unwilling people and wanted to win them over for the idea. With this approach of convincing the unwilling, however, I had to admit I personally came more and more to my limits. In the meantime, the community of willing colleagues that Robert had built had grown to a considerable size, and I began to ask myself whether it might not be a better approach to concentrate on the willing, to make the circle larger and to simply outvote the unwilling. I'll be brief. In the end, I have accepted that Robert's approach is the better one, especially for the issues we are facing concerning digital transformation. It is also more effective. In retrospect, I'm annoyed that I criticized Robert for this at the beginning. My learning is that the patterns I have been trained over the years to approach topics are no longer necessarily the right ones. But you only realize this when you really allow new approaches without bias, especially when an inner reflex says, no, it won't work that way. Really allowing is the key. This experience has really changed something in me. I'm more and more relaxed about new approaches of my colleagues. I tolerate more even if at the beginning I have the reflex to want to do it differently. So that was the episode on the topic, what is just my current challenge as a leader in our company? I will continue to practice and strengthen my speaking, and so be curious what the next topic will be. Your Thilo. Bye.